Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming with more Plague Inc. Evolved custom scenarios. Believe it or not, we still have more quests to work through. Not done yet, and I'm not going to stop until I've gotten through this current list. Then we'll take a little break, do something different, and we'll come back and so on and so forth. Today we're looking at something called the Frozen Plague. Now, this I think sounds very reminiscent of an official scenario, right? That already exists, but this one's apparently a little different. I just gotta find the darn thing. Here it is, called the Frozen Virus, not the Frozen Plague. He lied to me. By Galactic Animations YT, due to global warming, a new virus unknown, missing an extra N here, 2 humans, has escaped from its prison in the Tibetan glacier. Over many decades, it has infected hosts. However, due to a lack of an ability to spread, all hosts were killed and none survived. But luckily for you, the virus has infected a host who is immune. You must become a more infectious disease to spread to more and bring humanity to its needs. Do you have what it takes? I like that people have to ask these questions, as if we don't already sort of know the answer. But that's fine. So we're in a person who is immune. Does that mean by the end of this, there will be one person standing? The entire world will die except for the one person immune? Could be. I don't know. That'd be hilarious. ATP boost, Darwinist, oxide chemophile, and symptostasis is probably the way to go. Normal difficulty, and it is called Fuzzball? Okay. Due to global warming, a new virus unknown to humans has survived in the prison in the Tibetan glacier. Do you have what it takes to bring humanity to its knees? Starting in... Let's do something different. Let's start in Southeast Asia. It's close-ish to Tibet. Let's say it just went down from Tibet and got a little bit further down over here or something. I don't know. We're going to try playing in some slightly different countries here and there. I mean, starting off in Saudi Arabia every time is definitely the way to go, but it's also fun to mix things up, right? Transmissions. We have fomites. Good for the poorer countries. Not usually how fomites work. Usually fomites are supposed to be good in the wealthier countries. But hey, given that we started in Southeast Asia, which is considered to be poor, I am not upset by this arrangement. Symptoms. Pusts. Small pusts form on the skin. Pusts. You mean like pustules? What the frick is a pust? I don't know what a pust is. Can allow corpse transmission. 1 DNA. Oh man, that's really good. Cell wall. Virus forms a wall of infected cells around fingers and toes, blocks blood, and can cause them to fall off. So leprosy. Got it. Then we have brain shutdown, which it looks like we got for free and is very lethal. Costs 45 DNA points to devolve. Maybe this is something you'd want to get rid of if you're afraid the lethality is going to get Greenland shut down on you. I don't know, but here we are. Extra severity doesn't seem particularly good. Corpse transmission could be good because we have this lethality, so we'll use it to our advantage so long as we have it. Also, is only 1 DNA, so why the heck not? Heat resistance, cold resistance, drug resistance, and virus crossover allows the virus to cross RNA with a flu virus, increasing the mutation chance. Okay. Why did we just suddenly infect Ukraine? No, for real, why did we suddenly infect Ukraine? Did we just get a freaking... Is Pust gonna give me a freaking spore burst? I don't know where that came from. Where'd that come from? Okay. Then we have pusts form on corpses. Allows the virus to be transmitted via dead corpses and infected legions are touched. So is that not just corpse transmission, which I already have? I don't know, but okay, we're gonna pick that one up too. And then I want to go for pusts form on corpses, which is the exact same thing as before, except slightly changing the description. Form large pusts on corpses, increasing corp transmission in the infected area if touched. Not a lot of infectivity, to be honest. Feels kind of underwhelming. Let's go with the fomite level 3. That leads to fomite level 4. Virus can survive on surfaces for a couple of hours. That's not typical. Viruses usually can survive for like a day, depending a lot, of course, on the subject that it is currently residing upon. If it is plastic, it can last for like, I don't know, 3-4 days. Depends a little bit on the virus. In the case of the current epidemic going around the world right now, sorry, pandemic is the proper terminology. Plastic, I think 3 days. Steel and such, about 2 days, and most other surfaces only like 1. That's pretty typical. This still doesn't do me a whole lot of good, and getting the cell wall doesn't do me a lot of good either. We still need to go for more transmission, I think, so we'll save up and go for the fomite level 4 since it is the most effective option at the moment. Then we have the pusts forming on the corpses. But if we don't get more symptoms and such, then really what are we going to do? That is the real question. 10 points for even more corpse transmission, though we don't have a huge body count, so it's not going to do me a whole lot of good to begin with. Even so, we'll just pick it up. So that's all our transmissions, and that's all our symptoms. So I'm really hoping that there is a gating mechanism with the virus crossover that will allow me to start unlocking new things. Nothing there, nothing there. Okay. Hello. Hit it. There we go. Animal flu crossover. Shares RNA. I thought that said Ma for a second, but it's all lowercase. Tell me that doesn't look a little bit like Ma. The virus shares Ma with an anima flu virus. Allows zoonotic shift easier to cure. If that opens up more opportunities for transmissions and symptoms and stuff, then I am A-okay with that. What about down over here with a human flu crossover? Shares RNA with a human flu virus, allows coughing, sneezing, fever, and ache symptoms, greatly increasing infectivity, however easier to cure. 31 DNA for that sucker? 21 for that? Oh, dude, come on. All right, I should have started in Southeast Asia for funsies. We are not getting anywhere near enough DNA to make that freaking worthwhile. Holy crud. All right, well, we'll see if the corpse transmission is able to work for us. We really need to start spreading a lot faster, though, because, it was proposed to me that I change things to just mix it up, right? Change starting locations, don't always start in Saudi Arabia because it's boring. Okay, fair enough, but this is why I also always started in Saudi Arabia, because you never know what the balance is going to look like for a scenario, and it turns out starting in Southeast Asia was a huge mistake. So don't I feel silly? I guess we can go for the cold resistance. The Ukraine is considered to be cold. We have 2 people infected, but it is not going anywhere beyond that. I don't even know why we got in Ukraine. Oh, look at that, and now we're up to 3. Well, that's exciting. Okay, well, I guess I'm just going to speed things up a little bit. There we go, until we have some DNA to actually do something. Let's go for the animal flu crossover. That leads to the zoonotic shift, which will, of course, open up some new options, thank God. All right, that's going to cost me 11 DNA points. That's fine. The good news is starting with this much severity early on does give me some options. I did see that the ships were using new sterilization techniques, so we absolutely do need a form of water transmission if we are going to continue with our spread. Got into Japan. All right, good. I need to get to water level 1, just because we can't actually go most anywhere. We really want to get on some boats. I want to be on a boat. And so far, they are denying me my right to be on a boat. There we go. Fuzzball Awareness Day. Okay. Yeah, that's great. No, just sit around. Give me DNA. Come on. Fuzzball's been placed on a watch list. Who knew? There we go. Water 1. I assume that is going to overcome the sterilization technique. Usually you get a little pop-up saying that that's what was happening. But it did not pop up, which makes me wonder if maybe I am indeed screwed. Drug resistance level 1 would be certainly quite good since we are getting into a lot of the wealthier countries. Okay. Transmissions, we could go for birds. I mean, that wouldn't be bad to just get some land transmission and get the heck out of here. We're not really spreading very quickly right now. Air wouldn't be too bad. I mean, the thing is, we got all this stuff, and yeah, we got a lot of severity and lethality for the very early game, but so little infectivity to actually do anything. It's a serious problem, and they've started working on the cure already, so I mean... Granted, again, part of it's my fault. Shouldn't have followed people's recommendations and started in a different country. But at least we get a little bit of extra challenge, I guess. Yeah. Let's go for water level 2. Now we're starting to ramp up that infectivity, thank God. All right, can we actually get around to, Greenland and stuff? That means we want to go for... Ooh, I can't get another level of cold resistance. Why not? That's upsetting. Okay, well, in that case, let's go for some livestock for the extra rural transmissions. We can spread faster in places like Russia. I don't think I can justify devolving the lethality from the brain shutdown at this point. It's going to be too expensive for what I need to do. I'm going to go for air level 2 just so we can spread around on plane and also in the arid countries a little bit faster. We're actually hitting places like the USA fairly hard, even without too much more drug resistance. We're doing pretty well there. I'm going to go for more livestock again just to speed things up in places like Russia. Or Russia. I don't know, however you want to say it. Looking to get into Greenland. We can still get into the Caribbean, but I need a bit more... You know, I needed some heat transmission. Let's go for that. Spread a little faster in places like Mexico. Hopefully get on a boat and get into the Caribbean. Can't forget about that. Still a threat. More bird transmission? Sure, let's go for that. Not that I think we're having too much trouble with land border transmission, but it certainly will help. And the Caribbean shut down, which means I am doomed. Okay, well, ain't that fun. Let's go ahead and grab the human flu crossover and see what we get. So there's things like sneezing, coughing, aches, and fever. Okay, so all of these are actually pretty darn good. What this tells me is... Oh, we didn't even get to Madagascar. Well, that's really embarrassing. What this tells me is I really do want to go for the human flu crossover early on, because these are some pretty darn effective symptoms, and they would help me quite a bit getting where I need to go. Skin lesions, yeah, very good there. There's necrosis. Okay, so there are a lot of symptoms. It's just they're almost all entirely buried, which doesn't do me a whole lot of good. Also, we're sitting at 95% for the cure. So, okay, let's go ahead and try this one again. This time we are going to start in Saudi Arabia. Boring though it may be, it is a tried and true method. Very effective. Okay, now, the question is, do I go for things like the crossover and start working toward the humans early on? Still think we want to go for some basic levels of fomites. But yeah, I think kind of early on we want to go for the flu crossover. No point really in wasting my DNA on things like pusts or the cell wall. I'm pretty sure we will get that for free as it is. But now I want to go for the human flu crossover, and 31 DNA. At this stage of the game, it takes a very, very long time, with so little dang DNA to work with. Ugh. And why did we even get into New Guinea? Pusts is definitely a spore burst. Man, if you didn't have to worry about the freaking mutation, I could actually use that to get into one of these island countries, but oh well. Actually, amazingly, we're almost at the 31 that I was hoping for. I don't know how exactly this has happened so effectively, but it did. Let's go for it. Okay. So we do actually have the human flu crossover, which means now I can focus on some better symptoms. Symptoms, of course, a very effective method of transmitting your diseases. Sometimes, with symptostasis, better than transmissions. Not always, but sometimes. We're going to go for the sneezing. We did get coughing for free, which is nice. We're actually getting a fever. A little concerned we might have too high of a mutation chance, given how quickly we are getting some of those. Oh, I may have to restart this and go for Creationist. I don't know. Okay, that attempt was an abject failure. Let's try this one again. So we're going to start in Saudi Arabia. I'm going to go immediately for the virus crossover toward the human flu crossover because it seems to be the best way to get a meaningful amount of transmission fairly early on. And then I think you have to go for the brain shutdown devolution, even at 45 DNA, which is a little expensive. And by a little, I mean a freaking lot. But if it dang well works and helps you get around, then that's certainly quite nice. So, sure, we got into Indonesia early on. All right, yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, the issue I'm finding is that extra lethality ends up really getting these ports shut down too early, and you're always missing something. My last run, I was doing pretty darn well until Russia shut down their port very early on for some darn reason, which is unfortunate for me. So let's go ahead and grab things like the sneezing. Now we're going to start building up some meaningful amount of infectivity. And I think... let's think about that for a second. Do I want to go with the severity? Yes, so I want to get the severity, because as we get into new countries with red bubbles, I want as much gas as early as possible. The fever will help. Of course, it also gives me some lethality that I don't want, but oh well. So be it. Now I have to basically save up all of my DNA and go for the devolution of the brain shutdown, just so I don't get shut down too early on, which is getting a little on the irritating side, but okay. Let's speed forward once again. Slight change of plans. I decided to go for the skin lesions first just because that extra severity will give me a lot more gas. All right, now we devolve this. Lethality goes down to a far more manageable amount. Let's see if this makes a bit of a difference. The biggest issue I'm finding, again, is that I cannot get cold resistance level 2. I feel like if I did have that... oh, I need to get rid of that ASAP. If I did have that, I would have had a much better chance without having to go for the devolution of the brain shutdown. But since that did not work out that way, oh well, so be it. Can we please click on that? Thank you. Get me some drug resistance. Now we're spreading a little bit faster. Okay, now, with all that done, I still haven't gone for any of the fomites because they're just not that important. Pus form on the corpses, also not particularly important to me right now. I think what we want to do is go for the animal flu crossover, so I can start unlocking that water transmission. It's just that a lot of the basics are really locked behind some gating mechanisms, and I think they're kind of unfortunate. Now again, this isn't necessarily a criticism as in it's unfair, it's just difficult. It changes the way you play the scenario a fair bit. Most of your basic toolbox is shut down, which is difficult as somebody who has been doing this for long enough that I'm kind of set in my ways. Maybe I'm a bit of an old fart in that way, I don't know, but I will find a way to get around it, gosh dang it. All right, some air transmission, water transmission. We now have some of the absolute basics. Let's get some of the rural transmission. Whoops, don't devolve that. And get some water transmission, trying to speed this along. Anything that lets me speed up the spread. Speed up the spread. Good Lord. Brain, use your words. Speed up the spread in Russia. That's what I am trying to do. Rural transmission will have to make up for some of our lack of cold transmission. Now I think we need to slow down the cure, believe it or not. Which means we're going to go for some genetic hardening and try to slow this down. Nausea, that's fine, no big deal. Still not spreading very quickly in some key areas. Not spreading into Iceland yet, which worries me. Let's go for some more drug resistance, trying to speed this along. Come on, hit that critical mass. Gosh, dang it. Got into the Caribbean, going to go for some more genetic hardening. I find that they work on the cure pretty aggressively. in this scenario, so we need to be very wary of that. All right, we got into Greenland. Now I'm worried about Iceland. What else are we missing? Anything? Iceland. It's just all about Iceland. Can we get a boat into Iceland? Answer is yes. Okay, finally we get into all of the dang islands. Now I can unleash hell. Now we go for things like the necrosis. Also, abscesses wouldn't be bad. Pneumonia, definitely good for the cold countries. Pulmonary fibrosis. Yeah, let's go for the necrosis, start building up some more of that lethality, and I'll put on some more pus on corpses just to kind of speed up that corpse transmission even further. We're going to have to rely on things like the birds to get us into some of these other European countries that are holding out on me right now. Sweden appears to be the only one remaining, but that cure is still going really, really fast right now, so now we need that lethality. Let's go for pulmonary fibrosis and total organ failure and try to slow it down a lot by just killing people quickly. Get me that DNA, get me that genetic reshuffle. Now it is a race against the clock. But we have corpse transmission, so in theory we should be okay. Right? Nope, we're killing too fast in Greenland. Go for more pus on corpses? We're not spreading in Greenland. Why are we not spreading in Greenland now? What the heck? We're not spreading in Greenland. Okay. Maybe we don't want the total organ failure. Okay. Shut it down. That's 90 points to devolve now. No, thank you. I still need things like necrosis. Let's go for what? I need my cold resistance. Gosh dang it. We'll slow down the cure a little bit more. And we have no infected in Greenland and no boats. We lost again. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. This scenario is not especially well balanced in my opinion. I was holding off on that, but it's not. And the biggest issue, believe it or not, is the complete lack of cold resistance level 2. Because so much infectivity is slowed down with things like fomites and with pus from corpses being pus form on corpses, being more or less worthless. You have to spend all of your early game DNA on things that actively slow down your, or rather speed up the cure and slow down my ability to spread, just in order to make up that difference. And if I had cold resistance level 2, I think I could do it. But with all this being what it is, I might be able to pull it off if I try a couple more times. But at this point, I think I have a pretty good sense of the scenario. So either I think the transmission of some of these early transmission options need to be improved, more infectivity, or the price of some of these need to be reduced, or at the very least, figure out why this is locked and why I cannot go for cold level 2. That's all that I need. Then I could have pulled it off and it would have been a very tight, but otherwise manageable scenario. In the meantime, it's just so slow. I think that it ends up doing more of a detriment than anything else. But okay, so definitely a good start for a scenario. Not bad. Just needs a couple of tweaks, and I think it actually will be pretty good as far as scenarios go. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.